This maybe shouldn't come as a surprise that I'm going to talk about Scorpions today after, if you watched my Amazon complaining video the other day, I showed some Scorpions albums, you know, Fly to the Rainbow, and I had the problems with Virgin Killer, and I didn't mention Taken by Force, which is the one I'm going to talk about today. So it's probably not a surprise that I'm finally getting to Scorpions. It's taken me quite a while to talk about them. I did Worldwide Live a couple of years ago, but this will be the first studio album that I've talked about with the Scorpions. And I have a long history with Scorpions. It's not very deep, but it is quite long. I got, the first time I ever heard Scorpions was No One Like You from Blackout. That was the first Scorpions album I ever had. Although I didn't have it, I don't think I had it at the time. I think I got it after Love at First Sting came out. I was familiar with, I loved No One Like You, and Can't Live Without You was played on the radio back then, and the title track Blackout, I used to tape from these metal radio shows. I've mentioned that before. And then I got Love at First Sting in '84. Their old albums, I never heard any of them. Now, if you go back, Scorpions are kind of weird. They, as I said, when I heard Blackout, I thought they were like a new band. It wasn't until many years later that I realized Blackout was like their 8th or 9th or 10th, 7th, I don't know, album. And then I went back a little bit. Now, I saw them for the first time in 1984, and I do have a prop today. Since I'm talking about a band for the first time, I'll show my prop. Scorpions, that was my second concert ever. August 17th, 1984. Next year will be the 40th anniversary of that show. This was with Quiet Riot. It was called the Heavy Metal Hurricane. It was Scorpions, Quiet Riot, Helix, and Kick-Axe on the Love at First Sting tour in Toronto. So I saw that. Now at that point, I only knew Love at First Sting, Blackout, and a few songs. I knew The Zoo, and what else did I know? I think Coast to Coast. Now on that tour, they only played songs from the 4 albums. The current album was Love at First Sting, Blackout, Going Backwards, Animal Magnetism, and Love Drive. And I didn't know Animal Magnetism or Love Drive, except for those few songs. It wasn't until many, many, many years later that I heard, actually, I think it was only about 3 years ago that I actually downloaded and listened to all of their old, 70s albums. And I like them way better, I think, than Scorpions were pretty bad, I think, after Love at First Sting. I'm kind of going all over the place here. But I didn't hear these Scorpions albums, the old ones, in full until about 3 years ago. I downloaded them. I've never had them at any point, obviously on CD or record. So this is cool for me to have them now. And I've gotten into Taken by Force the most. That's why I want to talk about that first. Is it's the one I'm not extremely familiar with their 70s stuff, as at least pre-Love Drive, as I am with these other bands that I talk about. But I want to say that Taken by Force maybe is my favorite Scorpions album, and I only heard it only for the first time 3 years ago. Other than that, I would have said either Blackout or Love at First Sting. And to answer a couple of questions for Kirk, because I know Kirk had asked these, he had asked, or maybe it was one question about whether I prefer Uli John Roth or Matthias Jabs or Yabs. I'm not sure how you pronounce his name after all these years of listening to him. I can't really say. I'm not familiar enough with Uli to say. And also, to me, when it's part of a two guitar group like Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Rat. I mean, unless there's a distinct rhythm player and lead player, you kind of just see it. So I can't really say if I prefer Matthias or Uli, but as a full catalog, I much prefer Uli's. He did, 5 albums with them, maybe, plus Tokyo Tapes. Matthias has done way more, but some real stinkers in that group. And if you're wondering about the Amazon resolution, that was another thing Kirk, I think, asked about or mentioned. I honestly, I'm dreading talking to Amazon. So it's been several days now since I opened all those records that were wrong, and I'm really procrastinating, dreading doing that. And I did get Taken by Force, and it was one of the ones that was correct. I just opened this just enough to peek inside. So it still does qualify as an unboxing for those who tune in just for the unboxings and don't care about the music. So I peeked in there and I could read the thing. So this is Taken by Force. And what a different band Scorpions became. You know, if you follow their whole career and look at them, the first album and then the next 5 or 6, and then Love Drive through Love at First Sting, and then maybe each one of those is an era, and then maybe Savage Amusement and Crazy World and Face the Heat were kind of one era. I don't know, but I think this old Scorpions is the best Scorpions, as it goes with a lot of bands. So I guess I can, can open that now. And there's the packing slip, and yes, it does say Taken by Force. No, this one is pre-opened. It still has the tab, but there wasn't. I guess there is supposed to be glue there, but the tab is still intact. And again, this has 2 stickers. They both say Taken by Force, so that's good. Because if you saw the Amazon videos, some of them had 2 stickers and they were different. So here it is. All right, cool. And I love this album cover. I'm actually very happy for what it's worth. You know, Scorpions had some have some pretty controversial album covers. So then they had to have alternate ones, most notably Virgin Killer. That original one, oof. The alternate cover for this sucks. The alternate cover for Virgin Killer, it's not bad. But you know, the alternate cover for this, it's the pictures, 5 pictures of the 5 of them along the top, and then just black here and Taken by Force here. So I'm glad that they restored this. And I only learned after the fact that I bought some old Scorpions records that these just were reissued, I think in March this year or April or something, very, very recently on vinyl. I think there were 12. I think starting from Fly to the Rainbow, their second record, through Savage Amusement or through Crazy World. I'm not sure. There were 12. You can count them from Fly to the Rainbow on. They were reissued. So cool that they restored the original album cover. I don't know why this is so controversial. I can see the Virgin Killer, but this is 2 guys, teenagers, I guess, with guns, and it's a very blurry picture, I guess intentionally. And they're in a cemetery. It looks like a military cemetery with these, or like a war cemetery with these crosses. And there's the back cover, by the way. And they're pointing these guns at each other. I'm not sure if there's supposed to be some meaning, but I don't know. But I like this album cover. I'm not sure what it means, but I like it a lot. So because this does have, all right, this is special edition released on 180 gram heavyweight, colored vinyl in soft touch sleeve. All right, so they're really hyping all aspects of it. So because this does have a hype sticker, I always like to take a picture of it before I open it. So I'm going to go do that and finish this up track by track. Back here for the track by track, and as I said, I'm not super familiar with this. As I am with most of these videos that I do, or most of these records that I talk about, albums, CDs, whichever medium you prefer. So I hope I don't make any mistakes and embarrass myself, but that is a possibility. That's always a possibility, but maybe even more so when I'm not as familiar with the material. And I'm much more familiar with this one than I am with the other old, classic 70s Scorpions albums, which, as I said, I had never heard in full until 3 years ago. There are 2 songs on here that I did know. Probably I knew those in 1984, and those were Steam Rock Fever and He's a Woman, She's a Man. As I've mentioned several times, I used to listen to these late night metal shows, and I had those 2 songs, Steam Rock Fever and He's a Woman, She's a Man. They'd play them on the Q107 all-night metal machine, and I had those on tape, although that was years after they had been released. So those were the only 2 that I knew a long, long time ago. All right, let me get this off. maybe. Such dead time. This is where other people would edit their videos to not have this. This one is really hard. Why is this? There we go. All right, I'll just tear it. If nothing works, just destroy it. It's very nice. Oh, it feels nice. It feels kind of slick and smooth. And as always, I love the matte finish much more than a glossy finish. I have no idea what the packaging is going to be like inside because I never had these on CD or record. I have no idea. Scorpions had lyrics, I think, in both Blackout and Love at First Sting. I can't remember Love Drive or Animal Magnetism. I had those. I'm going to guess, well, it said soft touch plastic sleeve. I'm going to guess there's nothing, just plain packaging. Okay, a little bit. This is the... better than nothing, I guess. This was the alternate cover that's been around forever. And on the other side is that photo that, I think that's the same one that's on the back of the record. Yeah. And this is colored vinyl. What color is this? Oh, it's white. Look at that. Very, very strange to see a white record. Look at that. Milky white. It's a solid white. This is like the Iron Maiden tricolor, three-colored Mexico Night of the Living Dead or Nights of the Dead record. Also had a white one like this. That's pretty cool looking for whatever that's worth. I don't sit and watch it, but it is cool to see a white record. All right, so I'll put this back and go through it track by track. The first one is the aforementioned Steam Rock Fever. I love that song. I like it way more now than I ever did. I've been listening to this song somewhat regularly for a couple of years now, and I really, really like it. It's got a great, I guess, we'd like to introduce tonight. And isn't Klaus Meine one of the great singers ever? Nobody ever really talks about him. Everybody talks about Rob Halford and Bruce Dickinson and Ronnie James Dio and I don't know who else. Maybe Jeff Tate. Nobody talks about Klaus Meine. Of these classic bands that have been around forever, nobody talks about Klaus, or very few people talk about Klaus Meine. I think he's an awesome singer. I think he's as good as any of those guys. But maybe, Scorpions were not on the same level as a lot of those bands. But this would be the thing when Klaus Meine dies, everybody's going to say, oh, he's one of the best singers ever. I'll say it now. I'll do that preemptively. And I hope Klaus Meine lives a very long life. But he's great. Yeah, and Steam Rock Fever is great too. And I always have a hard time that, it has that weird opening sound, the kind of sound effect, and then I can never get the timing right of that. It's very difficult. I don't know if anybody knows what I'm talking about. Steam Rock Fever in LA. Steam Rock Fever, Rock Believers. I guess their most recent album, Rock Believers, was a callback to Steam Rock Fever. But that's an excellent song. And what's really kind of sad about their old albums that they never do anything from them live. I think the oldest they go back now is like Love Drive, and I think it's been like that forever. And I haven't seen Scorpions since. I've seen them live 3 times. The last time was '88. So I was supposed to see them a couple years ago. I had tickets they were playing as part of the festival. I ended up selling my tickets to go see another German band that same night. That could be another story. The next song is We'll Burn the Sky. This was one I always heard people talking about. My dog is going to bark any second. You're going to hear explosive barking. Louder than that. Oh, maybe he's learning. There are a couple of other dogs walking past the street. He usually goes crazy at that. We'll Burn the Sky. I always saw this, amongst Scorpions fans, that people love this song and didn't hear it until a couple of years ago. And what a mistake it was on my part, not listening to that song. I'm in love with the sunshine. I'm in love with the falling rain. That's a great song. Kind of a little bit like Later. I mean, for me, this came after, but I'm talking about comparing it to No One Like You. kind of a mix, a little bit ballady, a little bit rocky, you know, a little bit heavy. That dun 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 during the verses. Great song, "We'll Burn the Sky." "I've Got to Be Free." I love that opening riff. It's kind of a funky, jangly riff, and this is on the songwriting credits. This is Uli John Roth wrote "I've Got to Be Free." That one, of these three so far, I think "I've Got to Be Free" is my favorite. A little bit rebellious of the Scorpions. So leave my life alone. Leave my life. I don't want to sing that. So leave my life alone. And very catchy too. I think this was maybe the beginning. I think this album was, from what I know about their previous albums, which is not too much, and what I know after, which is quite a bit, this was a little bit like a bridge between where they went a little bit more, I wouldn't say commercial, but their songs I think were much catchier on Taken by Force, including "I've Got to Be Free." Hey, 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 that's an excellent song. All three of these songs so far are fantastic. That's why I think it's my favorite record. "The Ride of Your Time." This is really like Pinball Wizard, no? I mean that kind of that acoustic guitar intro, and then when the big power chord comes in, really reminds me of Pinball Wizard. And then the is this the one? I think it is the one that has the really fast the hi-hat. It almost sounds like disco for a little bit, but that's a good one too. And now this one, I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it "The Sails of"? I know it's not Sharon. I used for years, I thought it was "The Sails of Sharon." I'm not sure if it's Karan or Karen. This is maybe my favorite Scorpion song in their whole catalog. And I had heard, I think Kirk Hammett talking about this, or about Uli John Roth in general, but I think specifically about this song. Testament covered it. I've heard other guitarists saying that this was like, you know, a big influence on them. And I didn't hear it until a few years ago. And yeah, it might be my favorite song in their whole catalog. Although that could change, it could change quickly. But just so many parts to it. And it's kind of dark lyrically, or the tone of the lyrics. "Dark night, there is no light in the realm." It sounds like Dio could sing that song, not just lyrically, but the way Klaus presents it. "Dark night, there is no light in the realm of the black magic man." It sounds like Dio could sing that. Amazing, best Scorpion song ever, until you turn it over and hear the next song, which is "Your Light." Oh my God, when I heard this song, I remember where I was when I heard it for the first time, and it's because it was just a few years ago. And you know what I'm realizing now? These were all, I've never seen the songwriting credits. These were all written by Uli John Roth. Maybe there's something to that. Maybe that's why everybody worships this guy. He wrote great songs. He's credited for solo, not the guitar solo, for solo songwriting credit for "I've Got to Be Free," "Sails of Karen, I'm not sure, and "Your Light." Oh, and also the drums in "Sails of Karen" are fantastic. I've never heard one person say Herman the German, Herman Rarebell, is their favorite drummer, but he's got great drumming in "The Sails of" whatever that word is. Yeah, so Uli John Roth and "Your Light." Oh my God. So I heard that song a few years ago. I was walking in, there's an area near here I call farmland. I go walking in there a couple of times a week. And I heard the song, and I was listening to this record and played it like 3 times. Very, very catchy, very happy sounding song. It begins a little bit kind of dark, and then I don't know if it's a key change or what it is. I wish I had the musical aptitude to talk about this better, but then it kind of becomes happy. And I think just lyrically, I don't know if it's about God, and I'm not super familiar with the lyrics, but he talks about him being by your side, and he is your light. I assume he's talking about God. Scorpions fans have probably been talking about this for 45 years or however long however long it's been since this record came out. But I'm going to go with God. I'm going to assume that "Your Light" is about God, that God is your light, which would normally turn me off to hear something like that. But so for now, I'll say that "Your Light" is My favorite Scorpion song, slightly ahead of The Sails of Charon, for not just for the album, but for all Scorpion songs. Your Light is awesome. He's a Woman, She's a Man. As I mentioned earlier, this is one of the ones that I've been familiar with for a long time. Used to love this song until I realized it's so woke. It's such a woke song, right? He's a woman, she's a son, and they refer to him or she as it, with the pronouns things. Although this was long before Ron DeSanctimonious started complaining about everybody being woke. That community, the LGBTQ, whatever other letters they are, they should adapt this "He's a Woman, She's a Man" as their theme song. No, unless lyrically I don't think they're making fun of them. But I'm getting way off track here. "He's a Woman, She's a Man" is a great song. Oh, now there's a bonus song on here. I thought, okay, well, all right. So next is "Born to Touch Your Feelings," and I guess from what I know this album, this is the last song, and this one, "Born to Touch Your Feelings," it's not so good. All the other songs were all great. "Born to Touch Your Feelings," not the best. This is obviously, you can tell by the title, this is a ballady song. And Scorpions had a lot of ballads. Obviously, "Holiday" and "Still Loving You" are their big ones. And those are okay. "Winds of Change" or "Wind of Change," whatever it's whatever that's called, that song sucks. I never liked "Wind of Change." And "Born to Touch Your Feelings," maybe I just need to listen to it more, but I'll say for now, "Born to Touch Your Feelings." And then the last track, which is, it says bonus track, is "Suspender Love," which I know this song. I know it was the B-side of "He's a Woman, She's a Man." When I downloaded their catalog a couple of years ago, I downloaded this as the B-side to "He's a Woman, She's a Man." Really, I'm unprepared to talk about it because I'm not really familiar with it. I don't remember really anything about it. I think it was just kind of uninteresting to me, and I think they played it. I think it's on Tokyo Tapes, no? So I guess they really liked this song if they were playing it live at the time. But yeah, I can't really say too much about "Suspender Love." I think it sounds, if I remember correctly, it sounds different than the rest of the album. I don't know if it was recorded separately. I could be wrong, but I'll stop with "Suspender Love" because I really don't know too much about it. Oh, and this was produced by Dieter Dierks, who produced at least their next 4, maybe 5 albums. I don't know if this is the first one he produced or not. Anyway, so that's it for Taken by Force. "Taken by Force, Attracted into Custody." That's a Broken Teeth lyric from Blackheart, I think that is, from Viva La Rock Fantastico, which I guess was stolen, obviously, or was a nod to this album, "Taken by Force." So more Scorpions to come. It's going to be hard for me to talk about them because I'm not super familiar with them. I feel like I stumbled through this, but "Taken by Force" is a fantastic Scorpions album. My #1 Scorpions album. Why not make it yours?